Corey Anderson has lifted the lid on why he believes his UFC career never produced the title shot he felt he had earned. Anderson, who competed inside the octagon from 2014 until his release in early 2020, eventually found championship success outside the promotion. After joining Bellator, the Illinois native fought his way to the top of the light heavyweight division, later unifying that title and now holding recognition as the PFL's light heavyweight champion. But during his UFC stint, despite competing with and defeating several top contenders, Anderson never managed to secure a title opportunity. Speaking to MMA Fighting, Anderson shared what he says was the UFC's reasoning. According to him, UFC executive Hunter Campbell admitted outright that the decision wasn't based on merit. Hunter Campbell: "When I left the UFC before the Johnny Walker fight, he had a conversation with me and he told me, 'We can't give you a title fight. It's 100% that you deserve a title fight. But we can't give it to you because your social media isn't there,'" Anderson said. "It's not about who's the best anymore, it's about who's gonna put butts in the seats. The fans determine who's the best fighter off who has the biggest social media following." Anderson went further, pointing to a broader shift in combat sports where star power and marketability often trump performance. "You don't even have to be good at fighting anymore," Anderson added. "You've just got to have good social media. Guys are getting title fights like Derek Lewis. He got a title fight because he went out there and said, 'My balls are hot.' He got 2.1 million followers overnight. Guess what they did? Well, right now he's hot, so we're going to give him a title fight because his social media is booming." The 34-year-old admitted that self-promotion has never been his strength. While others thrived in building personas online, Anderson preferred to focus on the sport itself. In his view, that reluctance ultimately cost him an opportunity in the UFC despite consistently proving his abilities in the cage. Brandon Moreno is once again knocking at the door of a UFC title shot, and this time, the former two-time flyweight king believes his resume speaks for itself. At 31 years old, Moreno has already carved out a reputation as one of the best 125-pound fighters in UFC history. But the hunger to reclaim his belt remains strong, especially after dropping it to Alexandre Pantoja in their razor-close title fight at UFC 290 in July 2023. That night, the two rivals went to war for 5 rounds, with Pantoja narrowly escaping with a split-decision victory. Since then, the Assassin Baby has been on a mission. He rebounded from the loss with consecutive wins over surging contender Amir Albazi and dangerous striker Steve Ursage. Both victories helped Moreno reaffirm his place among the division's elite, while making the case that he deserves another crack at the champion. Moreno was cage-side at UFC 317 to watch Pantoja's latest defense against Kai Kara-France. While many expected the cameras to set up a post-fight face-off between the champion and Moreno, the spotlight instead went to Joshua Van, the 23-year-old phenom who had just stunned Brandon Royval earlier that evening. Van took his moment, stepping inside the octagon to size up Pantoja, fueling speculation that he leapfrogged Moreno in the title queue. For Moreno, that development has left him in what he calls a, quote, "a weird spot." "I don't have really nothing," Moreno admitted on the Jackson podcast. "I don't know what's happening. I'm not in hell, I'm in limbo. I don't have a fight coming soon. After I beat Albazi and Ursag, who did an amazing fight against Alexandre Pantoja, I think I deserve opportunity at the title." Despite his frustrations, Moreno hasn't dismissed Van's claim to the throne either. The young contender is now 8-1 inside the UFC, and currently sits as the #1 ranked flyweight. "I think at the end of the day he just beat the #1 in the rankings, that's why he deserves the fight for the title," Moreno said. "I met him in Kansas City when I was training in Glory MMA. I trained a little together with him. I don't have nothing bad to say against him. He's a very cool dude. He deserves what he's getting right now. But man, at the end of the day, we are here in a competition." With contenders like Van, Manel and even Moreno himself making strong cases, the UFC's flyweight division is more competitive than it has been in years. Moreno's track record, however, stands out. He's already held the title twice, owns one of the most thrilling rivalries in UFC history against Deiveson Figueiredo, and nearly dethroned Pantoja once before. Now, the question is whether the UFC will reward Van's momentum or Moreno's proven pedigree. Either way, the assassin baby is making it clear he's ready for another 5-round war with Pantoja if given the chance. Number 5, UFC middleweight contender Reinier de Ridder has officially been announced to headline UFC Fight Night against Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez on Saturday, October 18th in Vancouver. Dana White confirmed the bout as part of the promotion's growing push to showcase top contenders ahead of potential title fights. De Ridder entered the UFC with a strong reputation from one championship, where he captured 2 divisional titles. He first caught casual MMA fans' attention with a first-round finish of rising star Bo Nickal, utilizing precise body knees and punches. That win solidified his status as a serious middleweight contender, further cemented by a 5-round decision victory over former champion Robert Whittaker. These performances have placed him squarely in the conversation for a future UFC middleweight title shot. Dana White has suggested that an impressive showing against Hernandez could put de Ridder directly in line to challenge the newly crowned middleweight champion, Khamzat Chimaev. The stakes are high, as Chimaev has already proven to be a dominant force in the division, making de Ridder's upcoming bout a crucial step toward a potential championship opportunity. In a recent appearance on the Pound for Pound podcast, de Ridder broke down his analysis of the Chimaev vs. Dricus du Plessis fight at UFC 319. Speaking alongside Henry Cejudo, who highlighted de Ridder's training with world-class grappler Craig Jones, he discussed the openings he noticed in Chimaev's game. "I could do stuff that he was not able to do. Take him down, put him on his back, gotta hurt him. There's not an area that's going to be bad for me. Khamzat is very good, but I see those kinds of holes and weaknesses. They're exploitable, and I think I'm the type of fighter that brings something different. I'm an all-around guy," de Ridder said. Coming off a dominant first-round victory over Bo Nickal, widely regarded as one of Chimaev's toughest ground threats, de Ridder believes his versatile style could match up favorably against the champion. He emphasized that no aspect of a fight would be disadvantageous to him, underlining his confidence in both striking and grappling exchanges. Before contemplating a title shot, however, de Ridder must first overcome Anthony Hernandez, who enters the matchup on an 8-fight win streak. Known as Fluffy, Hernandez has steadily climbed the middleweight rankings and presents a significant challenge. The bout promises to be a compelling clash with major implications for the UFC middleweight division, potentially setting the stage for de Ridder to contend for gold in the near future. This fight not only serves as a test of de Ridder's skills against a streaking opponent, but also acts as a barometer for whether his all-around abilities can translate into a title opportunity against one of the division's most dynamic champions. Khabib Nurmagomedov has shared his thoughts on a potential matchup between Ilia Topuria and Arman Tsarukyan in the UFC lightweight division, expressing serious doubts about Topuria's chances of coming out on top. Speaking on the fight, Khabib stated, "I believe right now the best lightweight is Tsarukyan. I'd say it's 80% to 20% in Arman's favor." He pointed out that Topuria has largely faced strikers throughout his UFC career and has not been tested against a wrestler of Tsarukyan's caliber. "We all know the level of wrestling that Holloway and Charles Oliveira had. It's practically non-existent, but a guy who wrestles, Topuria hasn't faced that. He's only fought strikers," Khabib explained, emphasizing that wrestling and grappling are areas where Tsarukyan could dominate. Khabib also touched on the UFC's matchmaking strategy, noting that the promotion has been cautious with Topuria due to his rising star power. "I know the UFC is cautious. They don't want to throw him to Topuria too quickly. Right now, Topuria is a bigger star than Arman. But if Arman gets a big win, where can they hide him? They won't be able to," quote Khabib said, highlighting that the promotion may be deliberately pacing Topuria's rise while Tsarukyan continues to build his credentials. Beyond just the wrestling advantage, Khabib's analysis implies that Topuria's relative inexperience against elite grapplers could be a critical factor. While Topuria has impressive striking skills and a growing reputation as a lightweight contender, Khabib sees Tsarukyan's balanced skill set, particularly his wrestling and ground control, as a potential nightmare matchup for Topuria. In Khabib's view, the stylistic mismatch combined with Tsarukyan's experience makes this a fight where Topuria would need to overcome significant challenges to secure a victory. Essentially, Khabib paints a picture of a matchup where Tsarukyan's grappling prowess, combined with Topuria's limited exposure to elite wrestlers, gives our man a clear advantage, even if Topuria's rising star status and striking skills make him an exciting fighter to watch. This insight reflects Khabib's broader perspective on UFC lightweight competition and the importance of a well-rounded skill set in the division. Natalie Saledo is set to make her long-awaited promotional debut with one championship, and she's bringing her undefeated record and plenty of confidence into the spotlight. The Denver-born atomweight will step into the circle for the first time on September 5th at One Fight Night 35, Bunton vs. Hemmetsberger inside Bangkok's Lumpini Stadium, where she takes on Argentina's Macarena Aragon in a key test of her early career trajectory. Saledo, 33, has put together a spotless professional resume thus far at 3-0, with 2 of those victories coming by finish. Before turning pro, she compiled an equally impressive 5-0 amateur record, establishing herself as one of the most promising prospects in her division. Her most recent fight in May 2024 saw her secure a second-round armbar submission, further proving the threat of her grappling game to go alongside her striking and pace. Aragon, however, is no tune-up fight. The Argentine atomweight entered one championship with plenty of hype as an undefeated newcomer, but has since struggled to break through against the promotion's elite. Known for her judo foundation and durability, Aragon represents the toughest test of Saledo's young career. Still, the American believes her skill set is built to expose her opponent's flaws. She's a great opponent, she's a really good judo practitioner, she has decent striking, and she's a good jiu-jitsu practitioner as well, Saledo said ahead of the bout. I know that this is going to be my first fight. I know that it's going to be a good fight, and so I'm really excited for it. But I also don't really think that she's going to be able to push me or challenge me as easy as she thinks. Saledo expects to dictate the action whether the fight stays standing or hits the ground, pointing to her pressure-heavy style as the key to victory. She has studied Aragon's past fights closely, and believes her opponent's striking lacks the sharpness and composure to hold up in extended exchanges, while her ground game poses fewer threats than her record might suggest. Beyond her debut, Saledo already has her eyes on bigger names in the division. She has spoken highly of Japanese standouts Ayaka Miura and Chihiro Sawada, acknowledging their grappling abilities while envisioning how her style could match up with theirs. The atomweight division is one of one championship's most stacked, featuring former three-sport queen Stamp Fairtex and reigning champion Denise Zambawanga at the very top. Saledo knows those names will eventually loom large on her horizon. But for now, her focus is on making a statement in her first outing under the bright lights of one. I think that anywhere the fight goes, I'm able to be a threat, whether we're striking, whether we're wrestling, Saledo said. I'm somebody that's going to push the pace. I want to make people uncomfortable. Either they keep up with me or they break. Brandon Moreno has confirmed that he will not be competing at the upcoming Noche UFC event on September 13th. The third annual Noche UFC, which celebrates Mexican fighting heritage and coincides with Mexican Independence Day, was originally scheduled to take place in Guadalajara, Mexico, but was later moved to San Antonio, Texas. Despite being one of the sport's most prominent Mexican fighters, Moreno revealed that he has not received an official fight offer for the card. Speaking candidly about his situation, he stated, "September 13th is Noche UFC, but I don't have nothing. Don't have any official offer from these guys. So, that's why I'm trying to take advantage of this free time to get better." Moreno emphasized his eagerness to stay active, adding, "But at the same time, man, I'm dying trying to get into a fight. I can be the champion again." The former two-time UFC flyweight champion has been navigating a period of uncertainty in the division, often referred to as a flyweight limbo, as he waits for his next opportunity to challenge for the title. With back-to-back victories over Amir Albazi and Steve Erteg, Moreno continues to position himself as a top contender, and fans are anticipating when he will get another chance to fight for gold. For now, Moreno is focused on using the downtime to improve and stay ready for the next fight offer, keeping his sights firmly set on reclaiming the flyweight championship. Islam Makhachev is preparing for the biggest transition of his career, but he's beginning to accept that his days competing at lightweight may be behind him for good. The former UFC lightweight champion, who vacated his belt earlier this year in pursuit of a second title, is expected to challenge Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight crown before the end of 2025. While the matchup hasn't been finalized, reports suggest a November date at Madison Square Garden in New York is the likely landing spot. Makhachev has long been considered one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the sport, but the move to 170 pounds raises questions about whether he'll ever return to the division where he built his legacy. Speaking at an Eagle FC press conference, the Dagestani standout admitted that the cut to 155 pounds has always been brutal, and the idea of dropping back down might no longer be realistic as his body continues to grow into the higher division. "I don't know. It's always been difficult," Makhachev said when asked about a potential return to lightweight. "Now I'll see how much I gain after the fight. If after the fight, in a month my weight is the same, then we can talk about it. If the weight increases, and it was not easy anyway, I think we will have to sit down with the team to talk." Makhachev's comments come during a time of change at lightweight. Ilia Topuria shocked the world at UFC 317 when he flattened Charles Oliveira in the first round to claim the vacant championship. Makhachev previously brushed off the idea of facing Topuria, insisting the Spaniard needed to prove himself at 155 before earning a mention. Now, with the belt in Topuria's hands, Makhachev is more open to the idea. "I can't say for sure. There's some intrigue with Topuria," Makhachev said. "I'm also interested in that fight. Maybe it will be possible to make some kind of super fight." The possibility of a super fight between Makhachev and Topuria would generate massive intrigue, especially given Makhachev's dominance at lightweight before his move up. However, the logistical hurdle remains whether he can or should make the grueling cut again. His team will need to carefully consider the risks of draining down versus building his frame fully into welterweight, particularly if he captures the 170-pound belt. Should he defeat Della Maddalena, Makhachev would join the rare group of fighters to hold UFC titles in 2 weight classes. That achievement would give him the flexibility to call for crossover bouts with names like Topuria or even middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev, further boosting his profile as one of the sport's true superstars. On the flip side, if his body fully adapts to welterweight, it may close the door on 155 permanently, cementing the next chapter of his career at a higher weight. For now, the focus remains on Della Maddalena, who has emerged as one of the most dangerous strikers in the welterweight division. The Australian has built momentum with his precision boxing and toughness, and many see him as a stern test for Makhachev's grinding style. A win for Makhachev would set the stage for historic opportunities, but a loss could derail his ambitions of becoming a 2-division champion. Either way, the upcoming fight could serve as the turning point that defines whether Islam Makhachev's future lies in cementing a new legacy at welterweight or attempting one last grueling run at the division he once ruled.